getting set here. So if everybody could move up to the front, still plenty of food. We'll start things off. I'll speak for a little bit, and then Coach Gibbs will go, and then head coach Matthew Driscoll will go, and we'll open up sidebars after that. All right, thank you everybody for attending today. I really appreciate you joining us. It's our second here at this hotel, the Residence Inn, so it's a great location. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Assistant AD for Strategic Communications, Brock Borgeson, along with a couple of members of my staff. We have a lot of new faces around here, so you see us popping around, very young staff. Natavia Reddick's taking photos right now. Ian Bolger's right in front of the computer, moving the PowerPoint today. Ethan Ray in the back in the polo as well. And then a couple other members of my staff, Celia Oswich, who is out front, a student. For those that cover the Jags, you might have seen her out there too. So, but thank you again. If you are interested in following up and listening to this, you can go to our Facebook page and watch the replay. I'll send this out along with photos of today. You can get audio clips and other sound bites that you need. I'll be starting off. I'll speak for a little bit, just cover a couple housekeeping items, not too much. Just talking about the court and some of our other additions at the arena. And then I'll open it to head coach Darrick Gibbs of the women's basketball team. Follow that up with head coach Matthew Driscoll. They'll both have a chance to speak and take questions. And then we'll open up to sidebars with student athletes as well after that. So it's great to work with these coaches, my fifth year here, Coach Gibbs and Coach Driscoll. It's a great group of student athletes. So as you can see via social media, the CSI's company's court is now complete. Practices are taking place on the court. You've probably seen this picture. This is taken from one of the sidelines. There's a lot on that court to feature. If you want to click ahead, we can play the video. Some of you guys have probably seen this. So a lot of pieces on that court that we want to talk about. Obviously, our colors, navy and gray. CSI's company's court, $2.1 million partnership. Obviously, those are points of emphasis on that court, along with the talons on the sidelines. And we also really wanted to emphasize our location in Jacksonville. Obviously, you see North Florida. If you're watching that as a national game, if we're playing a national team, you see North Florida out there, and you might not know what city per se, but we have the star on the court right where Jacksonville is. It'll be interesting to see who makes the first shot from that star on the court or any other city on the east side of the state. The first match officially, the first event that's going to be hosted is volleyball against JU. It's the second of the River City Rumble. That'll be on Sunday. Women's basketball will follow the next day against Warner. They'll have another game against Charleston later that week, and then women's basketball will have senior night on the 11th. Men's basketball will have their home opener the 19th after their road trip out west to Washington State, hosting South Carolina State. That will be military appreciation game. All military and immediate family receive free admission to that one. So keep those dates in note. It'll be a quick month for sure as the teams are hit the road, and then we'll talk about the women's basketball's road trip as well. Construction process, the new lighting system and sound system are now complete. It's going to be a completely different experience. The Bank of England suite is still on schedule to be completed before the men's basketball home opener. That's on the 19th again. All other arena enhancements will be finished before the first game. So hospitality and seating, the Bank of England hospitality suite on the baseline, the west baseline, nearly 85% of the available premium seats have been sold. So those are going quickly, and only a few spots remain for Bank of England suite access. We've had those renderings around. We've had different pictures of it. But of course, if you need any other pictures of the renderings, you can follow up with me. Those are on the quick facts at each of the tables as well. Men's basketball season tickets and mini plans featuring 4 top-tier games at home are also on sale. That can all be accessed. That'll be the splash page when you pull up our website. So just head over to unfospreys.com and you'll be able to get access to those links and make those purchases. So that'll finish up my portion. We'll move on to hearing what you guys really want to hear from. We'll start with head coach Darrick Gibbs of the women's basketball program. Just a couple highlights on their team. This is his 8th season. We're going to open at home against Warner, and then take on Charleston. A very interesting trip out to Dublin, Ireland, so stay tuned for some content about that. They'll take on Ryder and Marist, the ASUN MAC Challenge. Taking on Miami, Auburn, Alabama, Wisconsin for Power 5 opponents. And then we'll have Emma Broerman and Kayla Roger to talk as well. Emma is a lone Osprey that she started all 30 games last year, the lone one to do that on the team. And Kayla's a sophomore guard from Savannah, Georgia. So 9 newcomers, a lot of new faces, 4 different countries represented on the team as well. Some experienced graduate transfers. Alyssa Westelick, South Carolina. Obviously, South Carolina's had a lot of success, and Brianna Livingston played at Cincinnati and Monmouth to go along with the Swan twins as well. So another set of sisters on our team. So without further ado, we'll open up for Coach Gibbs. This is for the stream, and then this is just in-house.
Okay. So I can't talk. Don't talk in this one.
You can just make sure you're somewhat close to it.
Okay, got it. How y'all doing? Good. Great time, a year. Excited to be up here again. Great to see some familiar faces as we roll through. Really excited about our group. Like Brock mentioned, our schedule's laden with tough competition as always. But this group's a special group. We got 9 newcomers, 2 returners. The 2 returners are here with Emma Broerman and Kayla Roger, and really excited about their opportunity to really step into the limelight and be and kind of lead this group and lead this team as we kind of go forward. He mentioned our schedule. We talked about the 4 games we play. We play at Wisconsin, at Miami, at Auburn, at Alabama. So we will be tested right away when we play to get us ready for conference play. When we talk about where we open up, we're excited about things in terms of the arena, the excitement around our program in reference to what's happening in the arena. We open up on November 7th against Warner, and we're really excited about that. And I think this is the first time I've been here that we've actually opened up at home. And so opening up at home, we got our first 2 home games, November 7th, November 10th, against Warner and College of Charleston. Getting into more about our group. Christy Homsey is a sophomore, transfer from Queens. Really dynamic guard. We expect her to be able to get out and transition and really create some attacks for us out in the open court. She's actually surprised us since she's been here and how well she's shooting the ball. So another kid on our team now that's kind of continued to develop her 3-point range, being able to space the floor. Brock mentioned Brianna Livingston. She's a grad transfer from Monmouth. Really athletic. Will be able to play multiple positions for us, and because of the way we shoot it on the perimeter, she'll have a lot of space to be able to attack. So really excited about her. We have a group of 4 freshmen. Sarah Taub, a freshman from Georgia, who's another really athletic slasher. Helena, I'm not going to pronounce her. I screw up her last name every time I say it, so I'm not going to say it right now. But Helena is from Iceland. She played on the Iceland national team. And represented her country there, and so really excited about what she'll bring for us. A forward that can play multiple positions. She's actually still, again, continuing to develop her range outside and being able to stretch the floor and play. So she'll play anywhere from 2, 3, or 4 for us inside. Maddie Millar, local product, one of the best 3-point shooters in the state of Florida. Really excited about what she's going to bring to the table. And then we have Selma Eklund, who's from Stockholm, Sweden, transfer from Wilmington. And another forward who has the ability to stretch the floor, play inside and out. So really excited about that group that's going to help us there. Brock mentioned the Swan sisters. 2 really dynamic players. Couldn't be different in personalities. Lyric is pretty outgoing and will be a point guard for us this year. And is really dynamic. She was a JUCO All-American. Then you have Jalen, who's one of the best 3-point shooters in the country coming out. I think she made over 200 threes last year. Between the 2 of them, made over 200 threes last year. She had about 110, and Lyric had about 90. So 2 kids that can really stretch the floor there. And then Alyssa Westelick, transfer from South Carolina. We talk about a great balance of 4 freshmen, 2 sophomores, 2 juniors, 2 grads, and a senior. Alyssa's a little bit different. She played on national championship team, so a lot of really, really good experience against really high-level competition that we feel can help us continue to grow and continue to bring this group together. And then we have these two young ladies. Emma's been a staple for us since she's been here. Like Brock said, played every single game, started every single game for us last year, and has been a consistent ball player for us. On the court, off the court, has done a lot and has stepped into a leadership role for us this year that we've really been excited about, and she's done an unbelievable job. She's going to be a challenge for anybody to guard inside, and with us being able to space the floor and shoot it, she's going to have a lot of space to dominate, and then we'll just play off of her and be able to shoot it around her, pretty much, very simply put. And then Kayla's first freshman year, she really struggled with some injuries, got off to a really, really slow, good start to start off the season, and then kind of been back and forth with some injuries, but she's adjusted really, really well, had a great summer, great spring, and right now she's really elevating her game this fall, and so we're excited about what she's going to be able to bring and add to our group also. So really, really excited about this group. I think we got a lot of really, really good pieces, and then our job now is to bring these pieces together and get us to the point where we can compete at a high level and then win some ball games.
Open up for questions.
Yeah.
You had, not to be negative, you had a lot of really good pieces last year.
We did.
And you're picked, what, second?
Yes, we were.
What happened?
What happened last year?
What's the short answer for why the season didn't turn out the way you thought it would be?
I think we took our eye off of the most important thing was our process. I think we looked ahead too far ahead in reference to getting caught up in what could have been versus what we were doing in the moment. And that's my feel for it. And we talk about process, and really, really staying true to our process and what it's going to take today, not tomorrow or 2 days down the road. That was one factor. And then we had some players that struggled that we were expecting a little bit more from that side of it. But I think ultimately, it came down to us just staying true to who we were in our processes and staying grounded from that standpoint.
And when you have a young team, is there something to be said for that they're maybe more enthusiastic about buying in than perhaps if you had maybe a veteran team?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is there something to be said for that youthful kind of exuberance? And do you think you have that kind of?
Yeah, we have good balance. We talk about our overall. I think the thing that we have, and this is where all the new faces come, they all have something to prove. They're all here to prove that they can play at a high level and be the player or be an important piece to the cog of having success. And I think that excitement and that enthusiasm kind of puts them in a different category. Plus, yes, they're here for a reason from that standpoint, and then that buy-in and that excitement for what we're doing, the excitement to be able to play and have an opportunity to play is definitely in play from that standpoint.
And then, if I'm the only one who had the conference this year, is it going to be the usual suspects of Liberty but what does Queens and Austin Peay bring into this mix?
Yeah, I think it'll be. It's really hard to gauge, to be honest with you, because of the transfers and changing. Yeah, the changing of the guards. The league's going to be very different personnel-wise. There's been a lot of change from top to bottom. A lot of players have left. A lot of players have come in. So it'll be a big difference from that standpoint. Queens will be competitive. I think every team that's transitioned in has been competitive from day one that they've come into the league. Austin Peay won 21 games last year, and they have a couple really good transfers on their team right now that I think, so they'll challenge at the top, I believe, just from looking at on paper. So the league will be very competitive, but I also think the league is as wide open as it's ever been from that standpoint, too, because of all the turnover and change.
Is the biggest challenge for you going to be, I look at your roster here, you've got 9 newcomers out of 11. That's an unusually high number.
It is.
The challenge is going to be bringing these girls, these women together as a team, as opposed to, okay, you mentioned you got a 3-point shooter here, a rebounder here and there, but
yeah, that is the biggest
team
challenge.
aspect seems to be always what separates the good teams from the not so good teams.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. That's going to be the key. How can we get this group of individuals to come together and play the way we want to play together? The team aspect is the most important. We got a lot of talented pieces, but can we bring those pieces together?
The other thing I wanted to ask you, are you using up all your scholarships? I know you have only 11
No.
players in the roster.
Currently, no.
So how many?
We have 15, so we're using 11 out of 15 right now.
Oh, Is it because you don't want to get jammed up all with one class in 1 year, or?
There's a lot of factors involved. One is finding the right fit and making sure we're bringing the right pieces in. Just because we have scholarships doesn't mean that we have that we need to use those for everybody. The other thing is only 5 people can play. And so when you have 10 people sitting on the bench with 15, it's a little tougher to manage from that standpoint, the reality of it all. So just a matter of kind of managing that a little bit also.
Yeah, I was more getting at the aspect of, if you get into an injury situation, you could be, kind of shortchanged with the bench. So
That's possible.
There's some risk in not using 4 of those scholarships.
I mean, last year was probably the first year I've been here where we were more than 12. So we've always been at 12 or 13 from the beginning. So this is relatively normal numbers-wise. It's not that big of a difference than what we've had in the past.
Josh or Riley?
Yeah. Obviously, you start off with 2 home games, but then you also get to make that trip over to Ireland.
Yes.
How is that for you and your team, not only because you're obviously playing some Power 5 teams, so you'll get on the national stage, but then now you're kind of on the international stage. How important is that for your team?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. Get to, great cultural opportunity for us to go over and experience something different. I'm really excited for these young ladies to be able to do that. We played in the ASUN MAC Challenge. The first year they started, and then we were into Orlando, and I thought that was an unbelievable experience, and it was just in Orlando. So I can imagine what this one's going to be like. We'll get a couple days to just kind of sightsee and do some things and activities over there. And then we get to play 2 good games against Meredith and Ryder in the MAC Challenge. So I'm really excited about the opportunity. It should be fun. We'll get an opportunity to experience some things over there, and then obviously do what we do, which is play.
Yeah, and then the other thing, also going back to playing some Power 5 conference teams, how important is that for you going into conference play? Obviously, last year you did pretty well in non-conference, but then once conference play started, teams seemed to struggle a little bit, especially against FGCU, who have kind of run the women's basketball and ASUN play for a while now. How important is it getting those games under your belt against those very tough opponents as you prepare to challenge for the ASUN?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's about. You set your non-conference schedule up to prepare you for conference play. It's the most important part of our schedule. And so putting these young ladies in different situations, putting our team in different situations where we can learn and grow, so that when we run into those in our conferences, we're prepared. So our conference schedule, as always, I think prepares us for what we'll see ahead. There won't be much we will not see before we get into conference play.
And then you just spoke to the situation with your newcomers. Obviously, you haven't had a ton of time to see how that's working out. But so far, how have you seen them just gel, if you have?
Yeah, it's been great.
Progress?
Yeah, it's been great. I think we spent, that was a big part of our summer session. I mean, we've had, 6 weeks in the summer, and a big part of that was bringing them together as a team. And we spent a lot of time focused in on that and tried to, I wouldn't say speed up that process, but really focus in on that process of getting these individuals to gel and come together. And I think that went very well in the summer. It's kind of continued as we've gone through the beginning of this fall session. So it's going really well, actually.
Is there a post player who can also do what Jazz did and kind of step out and pop the 3?
Yeah.
Is this team going to look any different offensively?
Alyssa Weselick is the one that has an opportunity to be able to do that for us. She can play inside and out, has the ability to stretch the floor, and can do some similar things. I know Mia mentioned earlier it's hard to replace a Jazz Bond, and so we got to do that by committee. I think we'll play smaller some this year too, with 4 guards out on the perimeter, so that we can continue to play similar ways that we've played before and really spacing the floor. It's unique to have someone that's 6'4" that could do the things that she could do. But Alyssa is the closest one we have right now to being able to do both in terms of play inside and out.
Anything else, guys?
Okay, so you said you didn't want to try to pronounce the girls' names.
I can try it if you want me to.
No, okay. My question to you is, why do her parents have 2 different last names from hers? I mean, and God forbid that we have to ask you to try to pronounce the parents' names.
Okay, so the daughter gets the father's name, okay, and daughters get the mother's name. So it's very interesting kind of dynamic when it comes to their last names. If that makes sense. That's the best way I can explain it. Her dad's name is Raffin, Okay.
Okay.
So Rob Findorter. Got it.
Okay.
Okay. And that's pretty much how it works.
Good.
Okay.
Interesting.
There you go. No problem.
All right, we'll end on that.
Go ahead.
Darrick, I was just going to ask, of course, Alyssa and Brianna added those two, those big-time transfers from big-time programs.
Yeah.
You know, and just, I guess in college sports today, a lot of, players are transferring schools and everything, but just, are you a coach that you typically rely on that, or, but just talking the importance of, adding Brianna and Alyssa and how they could come in and make an immediate impact for your team?
Yeah, that's we talk about the transfer portal. That is one of the advantage of it. You can bring in players that are ready. They've played at a high level. They've seen success. They've played against good high competition. And you can bring them in, and then obviously they're ready to play right away. It's just a matter of integrating them into a new system. Terminology is always different, and then figuring out from there. But bottom line is that's the biggest advantage to it. Talk about the transfer portal and that type. It's the way of our sport now. Like it or don't like it, you have to embrace it for the most part. Do we rely on it? I don't say we rely on it, but it's an option for us. It's definitely an option for us, something that we will use and not hesitate to use, because we got to find players. And, based on how players are transferring nowadays, there's a lot out there. Now we just have to find the right fit and make sure we're bringing in the right people to fit into what we want to get done. Thank you. Thank you all.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to the men's basketball portion now, introducing head coach Matthew Driscoll. His staff is here today. It's really impressive. A quick note about the staff. Coach Kennan, Evans, Perkins, and, of course, his son, Chase Driscoll, on the staff, all been there at least 10 years. So it's just always a testament to how together that team is. Today we have Carter Hendrickson, Jose Placer, Jarius Hicklin, and Jaden Parker. It's 14th season for head coach Matthew Driscoll. First to reach 200 wins in UNF history. Did that last year at Kennesaw State. A couple quick notes about the stats returning. It's a very veteran team now. It's an interesting turn of events from last year being so young to team staying with 9 returners. 74% of the minutes are returning and 81% of the scoring is returning. So a lot of big, important returners as well, which definitely will bode well. And 2 of those newcomers are transfers. Oscar Berry getting all rookie honors. Fairleigh Dickinson up in New Jersey. Trent Coleman, junior college transfer. Mark Flakis and Ja Enzi as well will be the true freshmen. So as usual, the big Power 5 games. Starting off with number 2 Gonzaga. Started off last year out west. Going out there again to Washington State. Facing UW, University of Washington as well, number 3 Houston, number 4 Kentucky, and Pittsburgh. So definitely a lot to talk about as well, and I'll let Matthew Driscoll take over. You good?
Yeah. First of all, the one thing I want to say to begin with is you just said everything I was going to say, so I appreciate you doing that. I always like to start with this because I think it's the most important. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And half of my married life has been spent at the University of North Florida. So my wife Carrie's in the back, and God has blessed us with this opportunity, and God has blessed me with her, and I'm thankful for her for being here as well, too. Coach Kennan, obviously been with us 14 consecutive years with us. Coach Evans took a little hiatus. Coach Perkins has known me as long as anyone because he was with me at Baylor, and, of course, having Chase on staff as well, too. This is the original suit. I wear the same suit. I wear the same tie that I wore at my press conference when I got the job. And the thing that I love about this is, and the thing that I love about kind of that is, to be somewhere for this long is very rare, very, very rare. But in order to do that, you have to have 2 things in place. Number 1, you have to have an understanding of who you are. You have to have an understanding of what you're about. And then number 2, you got to have players. Because if you don't have players, you can't win. I don't care who you are. If you don't have players, you can't win. And in the 14 years, specifically the last 9 years, we've had the ability to do some things that very few people in this league have done. As a matter of fact, in the last 8 years, only 2 teams have won 3 championships or more, and we're one of them. And really, if you think about it, everybody always wants to talk about our guarantee games and what our guarantee games mean and all that money and all those different things. Because men's basketball brings in a lot more money than women's basketball does. It's just the nature of the beast, and football brings in the most. But when you talk about that $4.6 million and some change over the last 9 years, when you talk about those 60 games, if you really want to put it in perspective, we're about 61% in the league and 59% against mid-majors. If you turn those into mid-major games, we average about 20 wins and 13 losses a year. And you average 20 and 13, you're building statues for us as opposed to what happens in the reality of what we deal with. And that's the thing. If you go to that podcast and you listen to it and you watch it, it's called What's Your One More, the number one. What's your one more? And they asked that question about that non-conference schedule because everybody loves it. Everybody wants to embrace it. But it's extremely, extremely difficult, especially for these people, because they're the ones out there between the black lines. They're the ones out there fighting the fight against them dudes. This year being the highest level we've ever played, not in number of games, but 2, 3, and 4 in the country. 3 teams they anticipate being in the Final Four. Not to mention Washington, Pitt, Duquesne, and others. And so these guys probably don't get the credit that they deserve. When you look at that and you think about that statement and you think about the preseason all-league players, there's only 2 teams in the league that have 2 players on that team. And we're one of them. So to finish tied for 4th or higher for 9 straight years, the sustainability that we've had and the way in which we've gone about it, we truly understand that the cup is never half empty and it's never half full. Not in our program, not in my life. We're always about filling it up, fill it up, fill it up, fill it up. And we've done it again. We have that team that we've had when we've won those 3 championships. We have the ability to have experience. Last year, we were the 5th most inexperienced team in America. This year, we're not. And when we've had that group in the past, we've bode well. We have interior scoring, not just with Jaden, but Jonathan as well, and Dorian. And Carter's as good as there is on the interior. We've led the country 2 of the 3 championships in three-point making. We're not a good three-point shooting team. We've always been a great three-point shooting team. And we embrace that. And when you got guys like Jarius and you got guys like Jose, and then you add other pieces like Max Hrdlicka and Oscar Berry, and then Carter, of course, is that one guy, that one oddity, so to speak. The Bo Beach, if you remember, the Garrett Sams that scored 1,600. He's that guy that 6'8" can do it from interior, can do it from the exterior, and can do it with the ball in his hand to get others and to facilitate. And when we've had that, and then when we've added other pieces, and you talk about a guy like Oscar Berry, a guy that's put it in the books, under the lights, in Division I basketball. You guys don't know this, but he was one of the top 5 most efficient players in the freshman class of college basketball and mid-major basketball. And that is 43% from 3, assisted turnovers, and the way in which he goes about how he plays. And you look about, Ja and Z, everybody's so excited. 2,667 points in high school? Are you kidding me? And then you got Trent Coleman, a junior college, and then, of course, Mark Flake is local as well, too. So we've got all the pieces in place. We've got the ability. And when you think about this group, you want to talk about resiliency, perseverance, and the understanding that what is next is the most important. Not what was and not what will be. What is next? Who is in front of us? And in this case, it's Gonzaga. Because everybody wants to talk about this, that, and the other. We started, and I would say I erred more greatly than they did, because that's the way I approach the way we started. 1-7, 4 games at home on the last possession. In that time, concussion, and then what do? 1-7. We can't cancel the games. They're going to keep coming at us. They're going to keep coming. They can't wait to play you because everybody wants to stomp the University of North Florida men's basketball in our league because we've been up there. Everybody wants to get to where we want to get to. Ask the coaches. Our consistency and sustainability. So how do you flip it with guys like these? In those same 9 years, 18 of those 20 semesters, we had a 3.0 or higher. 10 straight. So you talk about character. You talk about guys that understand the fight. And so we flip it. We go 6-2. But as we're going 6-2, 7-3 in the last 10, the only team to beat the two best teams that won their divisions, we're the only team to do that. So now we're flowing. Now we're feeling it. He goes down with Tommy John. Can't pitch to save his life. He goes down with a broken finger. So you know what these two jokers do? No problem. I'm going to get 20 a game. I'm going to get 11 a game and shoot 71%. And we're going to keep on fighting. And now, sort of like the Jaguars losing those close games like we did in the early part, like they're going to do, we flip the script. And now we start winning those close games. And next thing you know, we have an opportunity. Now, it ran out quickly. They came back from their injuries. We couldn't overcome a road game to start the tournament. However, why are we overflowing? Why is the cup overflowing? Because we have these dudes back. And they're experienced, they're healthy, and they're hungry. And when you're hungry, you'll be humble. And when those two things meet, you're going to be able to do whatever you want to do. And that's what's beautiful. We're grateful for the arena. We talk about the Bank of England suite. It's going to be unbelievable. What it's going to do for the future. What it's going to do for different projects down the road. But let's not forget about Bricks. The place inside where you're going to be able to get some drinks and whatnot. You know what else they're going to do? They're going to show every single one of our games on TV so that people can come watch, which they've been doing for a while, but they're doing all the games. And then you talk about our supporters that have been around longer than me. John and Jerry Haight, the perch they put their name on the outside of it. My son was 10, 14 years ago. My son owns 2 premium seats at the age of 24. We are fully vested and we understand what that new facility is going to do for us. Not just from all the things that you saw, but even on a grander scale. On a grander scale. So we're super, super excited. And the thing that we're equally excited about that you guys don't know about is we got a brand new weight room that Julie helped pay for. We're going to meet Julie and her Cameron and Connor tomorrow and hang out with them, and we're going to cut the rope for that facility. But here's the great thing about the facility. It's the same weight room that the $70 million Orlando Magic just put in and the $70 million Dallas Mavericks just put in. It's the same exact equipment. That's why we got 6 dudes overseas playing pro, and that's why we'll continue to have pros. Because we're going to put them in the best environment. We're going to give them the best opportunity, play the competition we have to play, because raising money is what it is. And that's why you can see. I had a PR this morning in my run, my 30-minute run. So you can see why I am the way I am and why I feel the way I feel. Me and Mr. Rogers, you know what we have in common? We both weigh 143 pounds every morning. So that's why this suit can fit for 14 years. I'm excited about where we're going. I'm excited about what's in front of us. But most importantly, we're going to embrace today, and we're going to embrace going 1-0.
Questions, everybody?
Sorry, Kyle. By the way, didn't you guys go to It's a Small World down in Orlando? When you guys were down playing in that tournament, you did all kind of international stuff at It's a Small World. Go ahead.
Coach, you know, one of the things you mentioned was three-point percentage, how great your team was. But last year, when you started conference play, you fell to dead last in the conference. Eventually started turning around. What change was made? Was it looks? What was it that changed? And what do you think going forward to make sure that doesn't happen this time?
First of all, great question. Second of all, was just a little bit more homework on that. We led the league in defense. and we had the worst, not just last year, we had the worst offensive team we've ever had in my 14 years. Ever. When we were scoring 57 and holding people to 46 and getting wins. I think we beat Belmont the first time. I think it was 43-42. Like, was it the uncertainty of guys being out, guys being hurt? I don't know. I know the looks were really, really good. I know the guys are really, really good shooters. So I don't put a lot of hay in that. If it's something that's an outlier like it was, it's an outlier like it was. Because we showed many, many games where we still made almost 10 threes a game. And we showed many games where we made 11, 12, 14. I think we made 17. So, like, I know we can really shoot the ball. So that's my least of my worries. But great question and great job by you looking at the numbers.
And then also, very similar, you guys have a new opponent now, Queens. What is your thoughts going into that? And also, what does it mean for the ASUN Conference adding another team as they make this transition to Division I?
So 2 more teams in the league, one of them as a transitional team from Division II to Division I. Northern Kentucky, if you want to go back and do a little bit of even more homework, came in. They were top, bless you, they were top 10 in the country when they came in. Bellarmine came in. They were top 5, won national championships when they came in the league. Queens has always been top 5, won national championships. So there's a pattern about these teams that come in. Very, very good. Austin P joined in the party as well, too, coming over from the OVC to join Eastern Kentucky and Jacksonville State that joined us last year. When I got here, there were 11. Then we got down to 8. Then there were 9. There were 10. Then 12. Now 14. And if you like Thanksgiving, which is coming up, the pumpkin pie is pretty good. When you sliced it 8 ways, it was a whole lot better. Now we're slicing it 14 ways in a one-bid league. Like, that is what it is. In my opinion, we had 4 teams in 09-10 tie for first. The 5th team was a half game out. 5 played 6 in the championship to go to the NCAA tournament. In my opinion, I believe there are 7 or 8 teams that can win the tournament. See, that's the thing that people don't realize. Winning a regular season is a beast. A beast. To have 3 of them is a beast. 18 games is you got to really, really be on point. When you get to the end of March, you got to be hot for 3. And that's why I was so excited, because we were playing well, 4-1 our last 5. These 2 jokers are coming back from injury, so we may be the hottest team going into the tournament with 2 all-league players coming back. So you got to make sure you put things in perspective, because in our league, seeding is so important. The better you are, the more home games you get. And this year, only 10 teams are going to the tournament. So 9 and 10 play at 1. 7 and 8 play at 2. And then the next day, you got to play 1 and 2. So you get a little bit of special treatment when you finish 1 and 2. And then 3 and 4 get to home games. And then we play, and then we reseed, which is another beautiful thing in our league, which I'm a huge proponent of, because it gives the teams that do well during that 18 games the reality of what they're doing. Technically, in 2020, we should have been the number 1 seed. And think about that, 6,155 in 2015, that was pretty special. So it's really, really important to understand how critical that is every single game, and then what it looks like at the beginning of March when you enter that tournament.
Matt, I'm sorry, you led the league in defense in what?
Field goal defense, and we were 2nd in DER. Okay. So if you want to get real technical, the team we tied with finished 3rd in DER. Liberty finished number 1 in DER, but they finished 3rd. So if you add up all the numbers and divide them, we were number 1. So that's how I look at my statistics.
One thing that you struggle with, you've got height.
Rebounds. It's rebounding.
Weight. You got kicked around.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that.
So, but you still got muscled around inside some games. So what's the plan B in case you do?
Let me ask you this question. If I went out here with Carter Hendrickson, do you think I can push him? I'm 143 pounds. It doesn't matter. Do you think I can push him?
That doesn't matter.
Yes, it does matter. The lowest man with the best leverage can always rebound the ball. Who led the league in defensive rebounding his last 2 years for us? Was the skinniest dude on the team.
Well, I'm sure you're going to tell me Carter.
No, Bo Beach. who was Defensive Player of the Year back-to-back years, who weighed 194 pounds, and everybody said, he ain't big enough? Yeah, Bebe Daniels. So people always want to talk about girth. Girth is irrelevant, and physicality is what's important.
Okay, will the weight room help you in that regard?
100%. The weight room's always helped. We've lifted for 14 years. Yeah, of course, we always do. We lift 3 times a week. We've always gotten bigger and stronger. Some guys are the way they are. Bebe still weighs. Gene was just with him on a plane. He still weighs 196 pounds. You know, I've just officiated 7 weddings in my 14 years I've been here, including his. He was trying to get up to 212 for the wedding, and he couldn't get to it. So, but rebounding has definitely been our defensive thing. It's been our Achilles, so to speak. And we've addressed it. We've approached it. We've talked about it, and we just got to continue to work at it and get better at it. But you're 100% right. We've got to defensive rebound the ball.
And then the teams, you talk about the new teams coming into the conference, but is it going to be the usual suspects this year in Liberty and Bellarmine and, you know, and JU, which has a few people back and everything? So is the conference from 1 through whatever?
So when you talk about, like, where the league is and all those kind of things, and you talk about the usual suspects, I think you said that as well, too, with the women. Probably one of the biggest usual suspects is we finished 4th or higher for 9 straight years, so we're always that team that's up there. And then the other teams that you mentioned, of course. However, I would say this to you. There's so much influx in the way in which teams are put together. For instance, these 2 guys are transfers. These 2 guys are high school kids that have come since the beginning. So there's such an influx of how that looks and the way in which it goes. And so it's hard to even say, like a guy like Asajala playing in his 6th year for Lipscomb. You know, because of his skill set and what he does, he makes them a little bit different and always dangerous because of his ability to pass the ball. Not necessarily his ability to score, but just to get those kick-out threes and the different stuff that he does. And I could go down the list and tell you how teams fare. And when you look at it, that's why I said earlier, I think there's 7 or 8 teams. I think there's 7 or 8 teams that could win the tournament. Not the regular season, but the tournament, just because of what you said. There's just 14 teams is a lot. It's a lot. I think we'll know more, too, after the preseason. I think you'll know a lot more about where those teams' connectivity is, where their esprit de corps is, where their group connective, how they've come together in the locker room and those different. Because putting those transfers on your team, coach knows this, like it creates a little bit of a dynamic, too. And that can hurt teams as well.
Why do you say that there's 7 or 8 teams that can win the tournament, but not necessarily 7 or 8?
It's hard to win 18 games. It's just hard to win 18 games. And I think the more consistent, I think the teams that have the ability to be that way and to have a style and a style that fits what they're doing. But conversely, Gene, get a couple injuries going into the tournament. So that's why I think there's 7 or 8 teams. By the time we get to March, they're going to have the ability to win that. Because all you got to do is be good for 3 games. If you get 1 home game, you only got to play 2. If you get 2 home games, you only got to play 1. If you win the league, then obviously you get a chance to play them all at home.
You like to throw out that 4th place or higher stat. You've done it for several years after you've started to
9.
accumulate.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I mean after you started to accumulate them, after about the 5th year, you started putting that.
Correct, the last 9 years.
So my question to you is, how much more challenging will that be to continue that streak this year when you've got the volume of teams that
Sure.
are in the league and the volume of at least better depth, it appears, at the top compared to previous years?
Gene, I would say this to you only because I've been doing this for 35 years and I've been in this league longer than anybody. No one, except for 1 year, ever picked us to win the league. Like no one. Not my peers, not the other coaches, not anyone. And the people that believe in what we're doing and why we feel like we have that opportunity again, you can put 14 teams, you can put 8 teams, you can put 11 teams. It don't matter what you put. At the end of the day, what really matters is how are you going to come and play on that particular day, and which game keeps you in and which game keeps you out. Which game gets you that home seed, and then which game would have been the game You know, which of those 4 games in the first half we went 1 or 7 and it was a 1-possession home loss? Which one, just one, get you a home game last year in the tournament? So instead of us going on the road with 2 guys coming back, we'd have been at home. So which one? That's how fine a line it is when you're us, when you're playing at that level consistently. So that's why I feel great, because of the experience, because of the talent.
Okay, so back to my original question. Is it more challenging?
I just said that, yes.
So you feel it will
There's
be
4, yeah, of course there's 14 teams. I mean, and I just told you there's 7 or 8 that can win the league. I mean, Jacksonville State, just so you know, in Eastern Kentucky, they finished right behind Belmont and Murray State in the OVC when they came into the league. Now, so it isn't like we're bringing teams in that are just whatever.
Did you vote for having a 10-team tournament?
I actually voted for, I think I wanted to keep it at 8. I think I said 8. If not 8, then 10, but I think I said 8.
Was there any sentiment?
There was sentiment to
Sentiment for 14?
all of them. Yeah, bring them all in. What happened was, if you remember this, we always had 8. And then what happened was COVID came, and we let everybody play. And then the next year, we had 10 teams, which was we let everybody play. And then, so I think it got to that point, and now I think the administration, because of costs and money and all those things, now it's going back to 10. I think it's a neat format that the 1 and 2 seed get the home game of the team they're going to play the night before they play them. So I think it's gives them a great buy or a great opportunity.
Is there any concern on your part, though, that, some teams can get into injury situations, get off to a bad start, and then all of a sudden you're, I don't know, let's say 2 and 10. Any concern that you're kind of killing hope a little bit for some of those programs who might be getting players back? You know what I mean? In terms of killing hope, I don't know, by early February, because you're leaving 4 teams out.
I mean, I think that's a great point. There's a point made by several coaches. It was a point made by several coaches because of what you just said, and then the ability to lose jobs. And so I think your sentiment is accurate because you just saw it. 1 and 7, 2 guys get hurt, yada, yada, yada. But obviously we persevered and we finished tied for 4th and whatever. So I think that is out there, but the way I look at it is, like, this is who it is, this is who we are, and so you got to roll with it.
Any other questions? And not to beat the 7 and 8 teams staying to the ground anymore.
The 7 and what?
7 to 8 teams
Oh,
able to win the tournament.
okay.
But do you think that might produce a lot of, not infighting, but kind of beating up on each other, and with those low records, you think that could hurt the conference's reputation as somebody who doesn't follow it as closely?
So 14 and 4 in 09 won the league. 13 and 5 finished 5th and was the half game out. So there was a 14 and 4 teams. So there was some of what you said. And does it hurt the league? And I mean, I'm a guy that coaches. I'm a guy that's been doing this for a long, long time, even at the highest level. Like, that's about as good a basketball as you're going to get. Like, our league is like really, really special. It's going to be exciting for people when they come watch, especially in our new arena. But I mean, that's just life. And we're not the SEC and the we don't get multiple bids. So it's like that infight, like, that's just for seat. Like, that's the thing that's beautiful. All that stuff's for seeding, and then all that seeding is a new season. Then that new season propels you into whatever's next. So it's going to happen. It happens before, and it just is what it is, really.
Matthew, there's been a lot of talk about expanding the NCAA tournament.
Coach Drew is at the head of it.
Maybe to as many as 96.
He wants 128.
Well, let's start with 96 because 64 plus 32 makes it easier to bracket the tournament.
Well, it's 128 divided by 2, 64.
I know, I get it. You do it that way as well. But my point to you is, are you in favor of going to as much as possible, because maybe that might give some of these big major conferences the multiple bid instead of just giving it to the 7th place team from the Big Ten, the 8th place team from the Pac-12?
I'd say it's a couple-fold for me. Number one, I'm never opposed to expanding anything that's going to help because college basketball is March Madness. I mean, you can say whatever you want to say about college football playoffs and expanding to 12 and all those things, but at the end of the day, March Madness is as good an event as there ever is going to be and there ever will be. So expanding it obviously can do nothing but bode well. However, with that said, I think it's way down the road until they figure out what they're going to do with said football and with the conference realignment and with the power that's to be right now of talking about bringing those teams together and separating them from the rest and having a 1 and a 1A, whatever you want to call it. And so I think that is a little bit further down the road. And I think what's really more in front of us is the fact that where we are now is pretty special. But I could see if they do go to that conference where it's more of the Power Fives and whatever they call that, +1 or whatever they call that, the autonomy schools, if they get those guys together, I could see them expanding it probably to what you said, probably to 96.
Good. More time. We'll have more time with student athletes for sidebars if you need that. Any other questions? Thank you.
I was waiting for the transfer portal question.
I'll just break you guys out separately, but yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming today and for all the media and VIP and donors that make this year be an exciting year. We definitely have a lot going on and a lot to promote, so thank you. Thanks, Rob. Yep, thank you guys. All right, let's break this down. Where do you guys want?